Hi guys, today we're going to do lesson 6-4 in math. And so today we're going to look at division, but today we're going to look at partial quotient instead of the method that we used yesterday. So go ahead and get out your math journals and go ahead and turn to page 198. So when you have, go ahead and look back up and we're going to be looking at our papers. With multiplication, we looked at partial product. With division, we're looking at quotients, so that's why it is called partial quotient. So look at number 1 on page 198. So it says, there are 6 pencils in each pack of pencils. How many packs can be made from 96 pencils? So first it wants you to estimate. Do a logical estimation. Don't just guess. Think about it for a second. Don't solve it, but think about what it means to estimate and what you think we would need. Then look where it says number model with unknown. So write down your estimate. And then for our number model, we have 96 divided by 6 equals P for packs of pencils. Okay? So over to the side, they have 96 divided by 6. Okay? So this looks very similar to how we've done it before. Okay, so the way that they want you to do it for partial product is to, or partial quotient, I'm sorry, is to look at it in groups and to see the logical way of breaking it down. Well, if you're looking to see how many times 6 can go into 90, you know that 6 can go into 90. They kind of have you draw this line as a little barrier, okay? 6 can go into 90 10 times. We know it can go in there 10 times because 6 times 10 is 60. Okay? So again, I know this is a little different and we'll show it with the regular way too, but I want you guys to practice this way for this problem. So now we're just subtracting like we usually do. 6 minus 0 is 6 and 9 minus 6 is 3. Okay? So even though we can look at this and we might know that 6 times 6 is 36. Well, another thing we know is that if we're looking just to see what how many times 6 can go into 30, we know it can go in there 5 times. So 6 times 5 is 30. Okay? So 36 minus 30 is 6. And we know 6 can only go into 6 one time. And 6 times 6 is 6, or 6 times 1, I'm sorry, is 6. And 6 minus 6 is 0. Now, these are all of our partial quotients, okay? So our partial quotients. Here we are adding these up, okay? So we have 10 plus 5 plus 1 is 16, okay? So that means our answer would be 16 packs. Again, this is the way to do this using partial quotients, okay? I know that we know how to go and do the dangerous monkeys, swipe bananas randomly like we did a little bit yesterday, but this is another way to break it down with simpler quotients that you already know, okay? So this is the method we are trying today. So, you don't have to write this down, but go ahead and look at this with me. If I do this same problem using the method we've used in the past, where I have 96 divided by 6, so we have 6 goes into 9 one time. 1 times 6 is 6. I'm going to go a little fast because, like I said, you don't need to copy this down. 9 minus 6 is 3. Bring down the 6. I have 6 goes into 36. 6 times 6 is 36. 36 minus 36 is 0. And again, I get the answer 16. I know this might be a little easier than this, but again, it's a different way to do it, just like we learned different ways to do multiplication. So today we are going to practice using the partial quotients, okay? So let's go ahead and look at number 2. So number 2 says, Dion has $84 to use to purchase books. Books cost $7 each. How many books can Dion buy? Okay, so first off, again, I want you to think and estimate. Don't write down the answer. Write down your estimation. Don't solve it yet. So I'm going to pause for just a second and have you guys do that, and then go ahead and keep following along. The next thing it wants us to do is our number model with our unknown. So remember, just like yesterday, our unknown is not going to be a question mark. Those are not unknowns. So we have 84 divided by 7 equals B for books. Okay, because we're seeing how many books we can buy. So again, over to the side, they gave us 84 divided by 7. All right, I'm going to draw my little line so I can do my partial quotients. So again, over here are going to be my partial quotients. You don't have to write partial quotients if you don't want to, because it's already on the page, but I'm just doing that to help us remember. Okay, so again, I know I can do 7 times 10 and get something that is going to fit in 80. So 7 times 10 is going to be 70. So if I have 84 minus 70, 4 minus 0 is 4, 8 minus 7 is 1. Now, here it's pretty simple. We know that 7 can only go into 14 2 times. So 2 times 7 is 14, and 14 minus 14 is 0. Now we need to add up our partial quotients. 10 plus 2 is 12. So our answer is 12 books. That one was a little simpler. Okay, and like I said, since we've practiced some and we know some of our facts now, this is going to be a little easier. So go ahead and look at number 3 with me. Jayla ran 3 miles in 42 minutes. If she ran all 3 miles in the same amount of time, how many minutes did it take her to run each mile? So again, take a second, estimate. She ran 42 minutes, or 3 miles in 42 minutes. So it's saying how many miles did she do, or how many minutes did she do per mile? Sorry, guys. So what do you think that would be? Now for our model number, we have 42 divided by 3 equals M for minutes. So again, over to the side, they have 42 divided by 3. And I'm going to separate and put my partial quotient as a little reminder while you guys are finishing writing that down. And again, if I'm going too fast or you need to relook at something, since it's a video, go ahead and pause it or rewind or whatever you need to do. Okay, so again, we know we can put 3 into 40 10 times. And 3 times 10 is 30. So 2 minus 0 is 2. 4 minus 3 is 1. We also know that 3 can only go into 12 4 times. 4 times 3 is 12. 12 minus 12 is 0. Now we need to add up our partial quotients, and we get 14 minutes. So that is how you do 1 through 3. I want you guys to try number 4. Pause the video, try number 4, and then we are going to go over it together. All right, so let's look at number 4. Like I said, you guys should have done this one on your own, so follow along and check your work, and if there's something you need to fix, go ahead and fix it. So number 4 says, Mrs. Gardner wants to divide all of the 4th graders into groups of 8 for a music program. If there are 96 students, how many groups will she have? So first off, hopefully you did your estimating. So now let's look at our number model with our unknown. So we have 96 divided by 4 equals S for students. That's what I'm going to put. Or it's 8. Well, I did that wrong. So, nope. 96 divided by 8, I was looking at the last problem, equals S. Okay, that is your number model. So over to the side, they have 96 divided by 8. And again, I'm going to put my little line down, and this is where my partial quotients are. Okay, so we can do 8 times 10 and get 80 to fit in to 96. 6 minus 0 is 6. 9 minus 8 is 1. And we know 8 can go into 16 2 times, and 2 times 8 is 16. So 16 minus 16 is 0. And now we need to add up our partial quotients. 10 plus 2 is 12. And so she would have 12 groups of students. Okay, so that is our answer for number 4. So then let's look at number 5. So it says, solve using a partitioned rectangle to explain your solution. We'll talk about that because it's just like this, but putting it into a rectangle. So it says, Peyton bought a piece of licorice that measured 72 inches long. She wants to give 6 inches of licorice to each of her friends. How many friends can Peyton give licorice to? So we're still just looking at 72 divided by 6. So what do you think that that's going to be? So write your estimation down. Now we're still just doing our number model, which is going to be 72 divided by 6 equals, we'll just say F for friends, because if I put L or anything like that, it might look like a 1. So here we're going to do our little partition thing. So we're still doing 72 divided by 6. So we have 72 divided by 6. Let's do it as this instead. Forget that little symbol. So instead of just having this over here, we're going to make it into our partitioned rectangle like it's talking about. So I have one section here that's going to be 10 times 6 equals 60. So if I have 60, so then that means I have 72 minus 60, and that equals 12. Okay, I know that's a little messy, but that's 72 minus 60 equals 12. Okay, so now I need to figure out what this 12 is going to be. So then I need to do 6 times 2 equals 12. Okay, so here I know I did 10 plus 2, and I've got 12. So I multiplied by 10 and 2 and got 12 as my answer. So again, this is just like doing what we did before with just writing it to the side, but we're just looking at it in sections instead. Okay, so again, our answer is 12 friends. So this is just a different way. And again, if we did it as dangerous monkeys swipe bananas randomly, we would still get the same answer, similar work also. It's just a different way to look at it. So today's lesson was about looking at partial quotient division, okay? When you are done filling out that page, I want you to get out your home links, and you are going to go to page 167. It's also on the paper online that you looked at to get this video, page 167. You need to do the whole paper. Numbers 1 and 2 are going to look a lot like what we just did, okay? You might even need to write it over to the side to give yourself some more room, but there's plenty of room to do it. Down here, remember, if you are trying to find equivalent fractions, let me give you a quick run through, okay? And I'm going to do one that's not on your paper so that you still have to think about it. So if I am trying to do an equivalent fraction for 1/4, okay, that means I'm looking at whatever I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top. So if I multiply 4 by 2, I get 8. But that also means I have to multiply my numerator by 2. So 1 times 2 is 2. Then to find another one, I could multiply this by 3. 4 times 3 is 12. that means I have to multiply my numerator by 3. So that means 3 times 1 is 3. Okay, so that is how we find equivalent fractions. That's just a quick reminder. Also, remember, this line is meant to put your fraction, not to make your fraction. So we don't put the numerator here and the denominator down here. We write it up here just like they did, okay? So you're going to do that page, and then I want you to go back to your journal and do page 100, which is the math boxes for lesson 6-4. Or 200, not 100, I'm sorry. So lesson 6-4, page 200, you have the math boxes, okay? These should be pretty simple. You should be able to do these. Be careful on this one where it's saying blank minus 3/12 equals 7/12. It's not 7 minus 3, okay? So make sure you're reading them carefully and you're taking your time and you're doing page 200, okay? Page 167 is the one that you guys are going to be turning in and that I'm going to expect a picture of. There might also be a place for you to turn in page 200. So make sure you are looking and make sure you are focused and taking your time. You have plenty of time to do these, and I know you guys can do them. So good job today, guys, and let me know if you have any questions. Bye.